Welcome to the Regal Eagle Report. I'm Lasya.
I'm Miraj.
I'm Ashka, and we're your co-hosts.
We're Team 2869, a diverse and inclusive team located at Bethpage High School.
We are aiming for our podcast to be an outlet to interact with other teams and collaborate on various ideas and thoughts.
We're so excited to introduce our brand new series where we'll be interviewing one team from each state.
Embark on our journey as we will be aiming to hit every state, reaching our goal of 50.
For this week's episode, we'll be interviewing a Hall of Fame team as well as another team from Arkansas, Bomb Squad.
So please introduce yourselves as well as your position on the team. We'll start first. So I'm Ashka, and I'm a member of the operations team for Regal Eagles.
I'm Lasya, and I'm podcast manager and help with operations as well.
I'm Racha. I'm the drive coach for Team 2869 and one of the leads on the team.
I'm Malachi Rivera, and I'm the wiring lead for our team.
My name is Emma Sanborn, and I'm the robot captain as well as the driver for our team.
Perfect. So our first question is, how was your team founded? Like, what is its origin?
Okay, so our main sponsor is Baxter, and we have a big facility for Baxter here in Mountain Home. And so a lot of the people who worked at Baxter wanted to start a team. And so most of our mentors are from Baxter, and they started this team back in 1996.
Because kind of going off of that, what was your guys' team name origin? Like the Bomb Squad. Like that's one of those names when you hear it's intimidating. Would you know that backstory?
I don't know the full story. What I do know is that our high school, our mascot is the Bombers. And so it kind of made sense to go into that, and then the more technical side of that, giving us the Bomb Squad.
Okay, how many years have you guys been part of FRC, like individually?
I've been part of FRC. This is my second year now.
And this is my fourth year.
Did any of you guys do like FLL or anything, or FTC?
I did not.
I did 1 year of FTC, and then we both mentor an FLL team.
So where is your school district located? Like, is it a small school district, big, in the city, or?
It's pretty small-ish. There's like around 300 kids per class.
Do you guys have a lot of surrounding teams near you, or not really?
No, the closest one's like an hour and a half, and then the next ones are a few hours away.
Do you guys work out of your school, or do you work out of the facility that Baxter provides?
We work off of a building that is owned by the school district. It's like an old food storage unit. We allow teams or kids from other schools and stuff in, so it's not within the school itself.
Oh, so you guys take in like how many different? Do you have like a lot of high schools coming into your team?
We have a kid from Gainesville, which is about like 30 minutes out from here.
And then we have a couple of homeschool kids as well.
So it's interesting. So we recently interviewed Pybotics. They're, I think, from Kentucky. So they were talking about how they're like a STEM school, and they had kids coming from like 30 minutes away. How like common is that for teams in your area, like in Arkansas, or, in your area with teams having multiple high schools feed into them?
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty common to have kids drive 30, 45 minutes to go to the meetings for a team, because we live in a more rural area, so that's really the only way that they can have access to it.
Our school district is really big around this area, so we have a lot of kids driving from like 30, 45 minutes out just to school every day, so usually they'll come. That's
crazy. We're really lucky with that, since we got our 10-minute drive and we get to the school, because our high school is about 200, 300 people per class as well, so we're also a pretty small school. With all your members coming in, how do you guys spread your word and get more membership and get them involved, get the underclassmen involved?
So we have several FLL teams as well as an FTC team that's at the junior high that feeds into our high school team. And then we do a lot of in the off-season outreach where we'll go to other teams with our robot and try to encourage more students to get involved.
That's really cool because we have a similar process where we kind of demo a robot in other parts of our elementary schools, but you guys go to like different high schools and all that and demo it?
We've had kids that are in our team that go to other schools,
Okay.
like to their, I don't know, school representatives about it and stuff.
Got it.
Going off of like how you said you encourage underclassmen, how do you gather sponsors for fundraising events?
We personally sign up for certain sponsorships. We'll go out in the community ourselves, usually in robot uniform, and we'll talk to them, ask them, tell them about what our team is, and usually that gets a lot of our community involved, and they're very interested in our team.
And then as well with like the younger kids, they do the same thing. Like with one of our Lego teams last year got to go to Australia, and so all the high school mentors went with them out into the community to try to raise money for that.
That's cool.
Well, what was the Australia trip for?
They got invited at the Arkansas State Lego competition to go to the Asia Pacific Open competition.
So nice. For us and here for our FLL, it's when you make it to like the regional level or like championship level, then you can go to either championships or Legoland. So we go to Legoland. So you can go to Legoland, California.
That's cool.
Do you guys want to list some of other sponsors your team has?
That I know of, we have wood carvers.
A lot of the like local construction companies and stuff like to donate, like roofing companies and like Gregory and stuff like that, big construction companies, because they see the like future in us for their.
We have a clothing company named Geek Graphics, and they're the people who will print our shirts and our sweaters and jackets and stuff like that as well.
Like adding on to that, do you guys receive like a lot of funding through like your sponsors or like through like your school or like fundraising initiatives?
So most of our funding comes from Baxter, and then a lot of the rest of it comes from students. I know each student has to raise at least $1,000 from fundraising, and then usually the school covers like our faculty sponsors. They'll cover their rooms, and then they'll cover some money for like the charter buses and stuff like that.
So do you guys like keep a log of each student has to raise $1,000 each year?
We do, yes.
So cool. Yeah.
Like, how do they go within? Like, you encourage them to also like go within their family and like try to see anyone in their family who can get their company to donate.
Yes, they do. A lot of times we have a list for signups for what companies different students go to. That way we don't go to the same company 2 times. And if you're related to one of the companies, you get first priority for going to them.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense because it's much easier to talk to someone when you have someone in the company.
Right, yes.
So, do you guys within your school, with the other fundraising initiatives and getting like with like bake sales, or do you guys do, what kind of fundraising initiative, that's what I've just gathered, sponsors you guys do?
We're about to run a bake sale in March, and we just did a fundraiser where we set up a table at lunch and collected votes for pieing our teachers in the face. So
Those are the best.
Yeah, that was another school fundraiser that we just did.
That's really, I think one year our team did a pie your teachers fundraiser. That was probably the most fun fundraisers, you know, get your physics teacher or something.
Okay, switching to more mechanical aspects, how has your robot evolved over the years?
So originally our robot was made from item, usually 1 by 1. It's a very open resource for Baxter, so we usually get a lot. And over the years, we've become specialized where, like specifically our LEDs, we went from having zip ties and tape, and we actually incorporated it into the robot. Last year, we put our LEDs into the item itself instead of having to like cut it out. And over the years, like we've had specializations like T-nuts and stuff, and the item has really helped. But this year we actually switched to 2x1 tubing, and it's been a very interesting challenge switching from item to 2x1 tubing.
And then also with that, our appearance of our bots have evolved a lot. So we used to just strictly go for like more the, I don't know, like the function of the bot. And recently we've gone into caring about like the actual visual appearance with it. So not only do our LEDs give us function, but they also give us feedback and also like appearance with it. And then we used to spray paint our parts, and we've just in the past 2 years switched to powder coating all of our parts. So it's given our robot a really clean look.
Yeah, that's something that I remember always looking with Bomb Squad. You guys always have like, you guys have the coolest designs where it's, you know, it's really wide a lot of the times I've noticed, like compared to a lot of other teams those years. And last year you guys with your LEDs helped, you know, with Cone and Cube and all that. You guys had that. I kind of want to ask a little bit about with your last year's robot. How did you guys do with your design process to get to that elevator that was on that rotating like A-frame kind of thing?
Right. So we wanted to basically compact the bot back down while still being able to go up. And we first looked at keeping an elevator on a constant pivot, but we discovered that would be challenging with picking up from different places, like from the double substation. And so we changed it to having our elevator on a pivot, which we were worried about would cause some complications because typically pivoting elevators aren't the most secure. But after many hours and redos of the elevator, we ended up with a design that stayed pretty sturdy.
So how did you guys get that to work? Because I know that with your like rotating, how did you actually do the rotating part?
Right, so we had a bar that went through like the bottom of our bot, and it was set up to 2 Falcons on 90-degree gearboxes, and it had a 500-to-1 gear ratio. And then I believe we geared it down after the first competition because it was a little too rough on the robot. But yeah, using that high gear ratio with the 2 Falcons allowed us to have a lot of power, and that way we could turn or like tilt the elevator really quickly without causing too much like internal damage to the parts of it. And then we also, to keep the elevator from destroying itself in the coating, we added limits for the power usage of it. That way, instead of being like a solid on and off, use like arcing power limiting. That way it would like speed up and then slow back down, keeping our components safer.
Yeah, you have to tuning. I know the tuning elevators is a little rough.
Yeah.
Why'd you guys make the switch from like 1x1 tubing to 2x1 tubing this year?
Looking at like sturdiness last year specifically, there was times during competition where we get hit super hard and the item piece would actually look like this, like almost a huge on our robot. So we've been looking into the sturdiness of 2x1, specifically other research from other teams, and we decided to give it a try this year.
And then another thing with that was we wanted to switch to the MK4 eyes to have lower CG, and those are basically designed to have the 2x1 tubing. So we made that switch as well at the same time to try to improve our robotics.
Yeah, I know that for us, we ran Mark IV eyes last year, and we got shoved around a little bit, and we were using 1/8-inch 2x1s, and we were completely fine throughout the season. So
that's the hope for this year.
that's all. I don't know. This year there might be. I see there being a lot of collisions happening, especially during autonomous.
Definitely, it's such an open field, and there's no like bumps or anything, so a lot of.
I read the cable covers, thankfully.
Yeah.
So are there like any new or different aspects that you added to your robot over the years? Like a swerve drive or anything like that?
Yeah, well, so our team invented the swerve.
Yeah.
So that was a big integration. And then over the years, we've developed different mechanisms to go into it as well. Like, we've definitely modified the swerve drive a lot from the start of it. We used to use like one smaller motor for the steer and then a stronger motor for the driving mechanism. And now we use two of the same, like, strongest power ones.
Same here. We last year ran Neo, and this year we're running Kraken. So we made a big.
We went from Falcons to Krakens for last year to this year, so similar.
They're insane. So you can't not use them if you can use them.
Right.
I guess kind of gearing back to more of your outreach, you guys are a Hall of Fame team, and with some of the things you may do with FLL, FTC. I know you guys mentioned you mentor FLL teams. Do you guys mentor your FTC teams as well?
So a lot of our mentors that mentor our high school team also mentor our FTC team. And so there's some good crossover into that, and that way whenever our FTC kids move up to the FRC team, then they know some of the people there and it's easier for them to get involved.
Do they share space with you guys?
They do not, no. They work out of the school.
Okay.
Junior high.
What are some of your major outreach events, like any local events, any international outreach that you may have done?
It's mostly local, like visiting schools a lot. And then also we have some big outreach for our off-season for our main sponsor, Baxter. They do a big faculty picnic every year, and we make sure to volunteer our time as a giving back a thank you to them for all that they give to us.
Has your team tried anything internationally or?
I don't believe so. I know we went to a China event in 2018, I believe.
That's good.
In the off season as a bit of outreach, but recently a lot of international hasn't been done.
So your team has been regional winners for a number of years, obviously. So what aspects of your robot do you think really pushed you guys to win?
I think our driving really pushes us. Having the mobility on the field is very, very nice. Last year specifically with tank drives, it was very hard to move around the charge station. So being able to maneuver in certain situations definitely helps.
Mm-hmm. And then also we try to make our robot as robust as possible and put a lot of thought into that. That way in competitions, in between matches, we're not having to worry about trying to fix the robot and we can focus on our strategy going into the next match.
Our biggest problem last year with pits was actually our swerve drives. A lot of the intermechanisms of the Falcons were loosening a lot, and it would cause us drift in certain swerves, so we would go in and fix that. But besides that, our elevator didn't have much problems last year.
Yeah.
Our biggest problem was the chain on the very top. It would warp the 2x1 tubing. We used 1/8 inch, and it would warp it like this in the middle of competition.
Yeah, pretty much all of our student-made mechanisms didn't really have too many problems. So we focus on trying to make it robust, and that's what our mentors really give us insights into, what we're designing, how that'll play out, and then lead us down to discovering that in our own design. That way, whenever we implement it onto the bot, we're not having a bunch of issues with it.
So last year you guys had an 1/8 inch 2x1 warp like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
What kind of 2x1 were you guys using? Was it the max tubing?
No, it was just the standard McMaster car style.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not the supported in the corners ones, but
Yeah, because that's something that we're doing with our elevator this year is we have the max tubing, so it'll give us a lot more support, helping us with that. We've noticed a lot of teams have complained about that with elevators.
right.
So-
Halfway through the season, when we were discovering all the warping and stuff, we went in and we designed a bunch of supports to go inside of it. So mostly 3D printed and Delrin and stuff like that. And that helped a lot by the end of the competitions.
Oh, that's really cool. What do you guys? So, how do you guys generally plan out your matches? So, you finish the match. What is your guys' go-to from that?
Right, so we use fires for scouting, and that gives us a lot of data. And then, so our drive team will go up to the stands and talk to our scouting lead, and try to get basically the rundown on what the bots that we're going to be with can do. And then we have like a whiteboard with all the game field and like the different spots for the teams, and we basically plan like pathing and order of everything. I know it goes different from year to year, but like last year we planned which spots we were gonna go to first and who was doing. We basically usually have the first 3 or 4 pieces for each team planned out before the match even started, and then go on from there.
Yeah, we operate in like a similar fashion. We try to plan out as much as we can, and I think something that we're gonna try to improve this year is making sure everyone sticks to the plan. Since a lot of the times, people forget the plan, or things, they get flustered. People get flustered. We get flustered.
Yes.
And so, we're gonna try to
helps
keep.
a lot. Sorry, one thing.
No, I was sorry.
Our drivers train to like be able to work without our drive coach. That way, if there's problems going on, our drive coach can leave and help the other teams, and we're not gonna like fall apart without them. So we're practiced to, run it ourselves.
Yeah, that's always a good way to do it, because if your drivers are in tune where they don't need much support, then you did a good job practicing. That's kind of our philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of segue into that World Championship. So you guys have been going pretty consistently.
Yes.
You guys, whenever it's been hosted, you guys have been there pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So, how was that experience? How was it in your division, playoffs, all that? How was that experience?
Last year was a doozy, to say the least. Specifically with our field, we had Johnston last year, and our field had at one point we had 3 FTAs on the field. There was multiple shutdowns, multiple delays, and stuff like that. So sometimes in the pit specifically, we'd have rundown times where it'd be 30 minutes or so where we just sit there because our robot was fixed.
Yeah, there was a lot of like complications and stuff. There was even one time where Dean Canyon came to watch our match, and then that match the entire field had communication errors, and there was like a 4-second delay on the movements of the robot.
Did they replay that match?
They did eventually,
Okay.
but not there the second time.
That must have been rough. It's like you get 10 matches at like minimum, and you're facing so many issues. It's so annoying.
Right? Yeah.
How was like the playoff experience for you guys?
It was good. It was really intense, and a lot of the teams that we went up against, we like know their team personally, so a lot of heartfelt, I don't know. It was just very intense and a lot of fun and very high energy the whole time.
I was in the stands. Our alliance teams were amazing, very energetic, very loud. A lot of our matches went very close to 10-15 points like difference. Our last match that we actually lost, I think, by like 5 points.
And the match before that by like 1, and they were both over 200-point games, so it was intense, to say the least.
Yeah, I was watching some of those matches, and you're on team under 100, so.
Yeah.
We call it Grandpa Alliance.
Grandpa Alliance. You guys almost took down the 973 machine and like that alliance, which is it's just so close up when you're at that level, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it was crazy. I feel like, it could have been really close if our auto hadn't messed up or something that small. Then we could have. It was right there. So it's like that every year.
Mm-hmm.
We actually lost to the people who ended up winning our division, which kind of was like, wow, if we won that, we had a high chance of winning our division.
It's your year. It's your year. This year. You guys. I want to see you guys on Einstein.
We do too.
I want to see that as well. Yeah.
Personally, what was your guys' favorite part? Just
My favorite part was definitely working in the pits on playoffs. it was such a close environment. We're like right next to our alliance team. It was so much fun seeing them work on their robot and stuff. And then in between matches, we were so pressured. It was a lot of fun, and we ended up having a few complications. So it was challenging finding a solution in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, and then my favorite part was definitely the adrenaline, being there driving and looking up and seeing like 30,000 people in the stands looking down to give you quite the adrenaline rush. So that was definitely my favorite part.
What sparked your interest in robotics individually?
I'll go. Okay. So, my brother was on the team, and I went to one of his last regionals his senior year, and I like fell in love with the program. It was awesome, and I knew from that point on that I was going to do it. And any opportunity I could, I was going to the competitions, and I joined as early as I could. Like my freshman year, I joined. So.
I actually have a funny story with that. I actually got blackmailed into joining it with my friends. And at first I was very skeptical, like the first few weeks. But then eventually, specifically whenever wiring came around, I fell in love with it really. And it was just enjoyable to me. Specifically with school, because school isn't very challenging. So whenever I come in here, I get challenged every day. So it's always such a blast being here.
So no, Raj, do you have a question?
No.
Okay, sorry. So have alumni within your team like pursued higher educations in STEM, or are you guys planning to?
They have, yes. We have several of our kids who just recently graduated are going to like some of the top engineering schools in the area and studying things like mechanical engineering and aerospace engineering and computer science. And then we have graduated members who have gone off to be part of big companies, and then we have other ones who come back and mentor the team and help give back to it.
Are you guys planning to do anything in the STEM fields?
Yes.
Yeah, I plan to go into aerospace engineering.
I'm still undecided, but I definitely plan on going in some sort of engineering.
So those are all the questions from our team. So now we're gonna do like an open floor discussion, and you guys can ask all of us any questions you guys have about anything.
Okay. I'm concerned about like the notes being messed up during the matches and stuff, and throughout the competition. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
So they're gonna get absolutely destroyed during each of the matches. I'll tell you right now, teams that decide to use the rougher wheels for their shooter, for some reason, they're definitely gonna eat up every note. But I don't know, teams are gonna it's so hard to keep them in shape. We've tried to avoid using our notes we have right now. So we've been constantly taping one of them up. So every rip, all right, throw some more gas tape on there, because we have to save our events for save our notes for an event we host called Regal Eagle Rampage.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
We had a homemade high note by the end of week 1.
Yeah.
Yep. Has your human player been practicing that?
Yes, they. One of our mentors is leading that, and they had to throw 100 shots a night for practice.
We gotta get our human player on that.
Okay, I have some questions prepared, but the first one was, how do you guys get younger people involved?
One of our initiatives we hold during the school year is called Engineers Helping Engineers. So what we do is we have 3 elementary schools in our school district, and we host these presentations to 5th graders, and we talk about our what robotics is, what STEM is all about, and we do I think they're circuit kits, snap circuit kits, and we work on different we do different topics with them at each elementary school. So I think that has gained a lot of traction since the past 2 years. We do host STEM nights too. Our school hosts them, and then we help volunteer. We demo our robot. One time, a burrito place sponsored us. So we taped a burrito to the robot, and then we launched it into the air with our the 2021 robot.
2022.
No, 2022. Yeah.
That was the Rapid React.
The Rapid React robot. and then like the kid has to like catch it, and then whoever catch it caught it. So like I think those were like our biggest events to gain traction.
That's cool. Okay, how do you guys go about approaching the problem whenever the game is revealed?
So the way we like to normally start it is we all sit in we have a little theater, so we watch the game reveal in there, and so we're all, we watch the game reveal, and then afterwards what we do is we kind of split up a little bit. So we have most of the students reading the game manual, understanding the scoring, and getting like some of the basic rules down. And then while that's happening, we have a few of our students go and try to tape out the field, and we can try playing the game. This year we weren't able to as much because we just didn't have access to the like gym stuff. But and the year before that, we were able to just play the game, playing on little scooters and running across, because it actually mimics the like pace of play pretty well, especially like on a smaller field.
And we would like time it, and we would like tape everything up correctly. It was fun.
Yeah. We would record it, and it would be like, all right, so now you're gonna do defense, and then you're gonna like just keep cycling. And sometimes we tried up like the cube only, cone only strat and all that. So you find a lot of cool stuff from that. So then after that's done, we read the game manual a little bit more, and then we organize people into different groups, and we have them work out different strategies, and we kind of create like a wants, don't wants, like a standard what do you want to do pick like list, and that sets up our goals for our robot, and then we obviously modify them. This year we did a little bit different, where we decided let's go we went really heavy on CAD for the first time in a while, so we had a pretty good CAD really early on in the season, so that's kind of what we focused on.
Right, so we typically, like the day of kickoff, we all meet up and we watch the video, and then we'll break off into 3 or so groups and spend like 4 hours or so just breaking down every part of the rules. And we'll write all the rules that we find on whiteboards and try to like fully understand the game. And then usually each group tries to find a couple of questions that they think would be challenging and ask them to the other groups to see if they have a comprehensive knowledge of it. And then we'll make a list that are predictions basically of what we think the different levels of teams would be able to accomplish in the game, like what the rookie teams are going to go for, and then what the like intermediate and then really high level teams, what they're going to try to do, and then we try to set ourselves based off of that what we want to try to accomplish this year.
Yeah, that's really smart, because you're kind of planning for the matches, really. You're kind of trying to set yourself up so you can, rank as high and design your robot around what would be the most typical at your area, so. Yeah.
Right, yeah, like this time we knew for sure that we wanted to do the trap, because we knew that most of the people going to like Arkansas Regional probably weren't going to. And so to know that we could solidly do that would be a good thing. So that was like one of the main parts that we focused on.
Yeah, like with us and kind of breaking down our strategy, we wanted to focus more on the amp, because we know most teams are going to be able to shoot in the speaker with the kitbot. So we kind of designed our own strategy, kind of basing off of if we have 2 kitbots on our team, like this is how we would play the match out and all that.
That's cool. Okay, what do you guys do to help and support other teams during competitions?
During competitions, this is more like throughout our season, we do different like events where we invite other teams local to our area to come to our lab and talk about different aspects of our team, like mechanical and any new fundraising activities that we've done. So we do that, and then we also help them. We donate parts sometimes to help them with their starting season, especially for like the rookie teams.
You want to talk about ours?
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about what we do at competitions?
At competitions specifically, usually load in, we're very quick with it. Last year at Worlds, last year at Worlds, we're the first person on our side of the building to get set up. So usually we distribute tools and stuff to other teams and help everyone else unload their pits. Last year at Arkansas, it was raining whenever we got there. So we all went out in the rain and just started shuttling people's pits in as fast as we could.
That's awesome. I guess kind of going off of what like Ashka said, we also invite, so before each competition, not each, but like the competition in New York, we kind of spoke about it a little earlier, but we host this event called Regal Eagle Rampage. So we invite as many teams from Long Island as we can host, and for Saturday they're allowed to practice on, like, we make the field and everything, and we set up in our gym. So we basically run like a mini week 0 before the event starts, and we're also doing it now. We are hosting it for 1 week, so we have the field set up so teams can come down, because in New York, like, no one really, at least in Long Island, no one really has like a practice field, so it's really nice for teams to come by and practice on the real field. Specifically like competitions, we like, you know, people need help with pit admin parts, all that, we're always ready, like available to donate and stuff.
Yeah, like last year, through our podcast, we interviewed a team from the Dominican Republic, and they came to one of our regionals in Long Island. So they needed a place like house their robot. So we like opened up our lab to them. We met with them in our lab. We housed their robot, and we helped like bring it to America and back to the Dominican Republic. So yeah,
That's really cool.
Do you guys machine in house, or do you guys go somewhere to machine your items?
So we did, now with our CNC machine, we machine pretty much everything in house. Because before we had a CNC machine, but it couldn't cut aluminum. So now we're able to cut aluminum with our CNC machine. And before that, we would, if we had to get any of the like parts cut, we would just get them water jetted. So we're really lucky now. So we have a nice 3D printer and a nice CNC to do all this stuff.
Could I ask what machines you guys have in your shop?
Yeah, so we have a Bamboo Labs 3D printer, which is kind of helping us with some of our pulleys and hubs. And we have a Carbide 3D, not Carbide, I gotta double check the model. But yeah, Shipuku Pro CNC. So we have, that's like our big machinery. We also have like standard like top saw, drill press, bandsaw. We have a like manual mill, but we don't use that much anymore.
Oh,
So we used it last year. We shouldn't have used it like we used it last year, because so we were doing like a telescoping arm, right? We tried to, and because the tubing wasn't fitting properly, we took our mill and started planing the surface of this 1/8" aluminum, and it was like, we don't know how much we're doing. We're not really experts on the mill. I just use it as my arm workouts.
Yeah. We have a water saw, bandsaw. We actually have a lathe and a mill in our shop, and we also have a 3-axis CNC.
Yeah.
We recently got a 7x4 by a big powder coating oven. We originally had a cooking oven, and then we just got this big one. It can house like 5 kids in it. It's so big.
Wow.
We also, some of our parts that are like less easy to machine, we'll send some of our kids over to Baxter with one of our mentors that work there, and then they'll teach us how to use some of the stuff over there. Like they have a 5-axis CNC,
That's nice.
and we use that for some of our parts. And then we also, if students design like parts that they need 3D printed on like a more sturdy material, Baxter has some Mark Forges that they'll let us use, and so we can get those sent there to be printed.
That must be like, you have so many options. With us, we try to stay simple with our machining anyways, and like our designs. We don't, because anything that we would need that would require some of those parts, we kind of like, all right, West Coast Products, hook us up, you know?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the stuff, like to be shipped to us takes a couple days because we live in the middle of pretty much nowhere. So
Takes a while.
a lot of the stuff we have to design and make on our own. Like a lot of the pulleys that we use, we 3D print on the Mark Forgers because we don't have the time to get them brought.
Yeah, we've been starting to 3D print like our all of our hubs and all that. So we've been starting to use more data axle rollers. So we have our bamboo lab printer, which can use carbon fiber filament. So then we're able to just kind of pump out some of those, and it works so quick. We just, sometimes we need something. All right, set it up overnight, come back in, finish your project.
Right. Okay, I had one more question prepared, and it was, how do you guys go about your prototyping?
So what we'd like to do is we have, we start out at the beginning of the season, we do basic prototyping with drills, we do it with, anything we can really find. Any type of, this year started more with rollers more than we have in years past, because rollers is kind of the way you can approach any object, and especially this year, like it's kind of a standard, like you have a shooter, you have an intake, So we kind of look at RA3D, we look at kind of what to provide on Chief Delphi and Open Alliance threads, and we build some of those prototypes. So we built a few intake prototypes, and then we tested some different compressions and kind of settled on the intake we have now, which is first time we're actually doing like a full width intake, because we're trying to be a lot more flexible with the game pieces. With shooters, we didn't do as much like prototyping as we were intending to. We kind of saw what worked with RA3D, kind of tested some of that with us, and then kind of just went for it, because a lot of times we spend a lot of time in that prototyping and we don't really get out of it. So last year we were kind of stuck in that prototype phase where we didn't have anything assembled. So that's something we tried to speed up and make iterations throughout, like driving and all that. So prototyping and CADing gets us through weeks 1 and 2, and we consistently iterate on our CAD as we change things, we find things working and not working. So
That makes sense. We usually do prototyping for the first week or two, and it's about half of them will be just making them, and half of them will be CADed out and actually put time into making the prototypes really nice. And then usually around a week and a half to 2 weeks in, we'll vote on which prototypes we want to go with. And then from that, it's our nose is in the CAD. We're constantly CADing, and we get full robot mocked up. We do it down to every bolt and everything. We do full robot mock-up. And so that takes the next week or two at least. And then iterations will go into that as we're making mechanical parts.
Do you guys use on-chip for CAD?
We use Inventor.
Yeah, we used Inventor last year. We didn't like it much, so we're switching over to on-chip.
That's fair.
A lot of our mentors have a lot of knowledge in Inventor, and so they were able to teach us that, basically.
Yeah, well, this year we're like we ain't spending too much time, wasting too much time and everything. So we spent a good one day. 3 of us collectively spent about 36 hours CADing at home. Collective, not
Okay.
Still, that's
a lot
impressive.
of time.
Yeah. That's how wiring feels.
Yeah.
Usually it's a rush of mechanical, and then that takes
hours.
4 weeks, and then all of a sudden you have a day and a half to wire the whole thing. So
I know, it's brutal. This year we were a little nicer, we're all right, we have everything mounted here, what electrical,
I will.
and then they're I hate using, because we were originally gonna go with Kraken Neo swerve, but with how getting the canvas and cannonbores and then sparks and packaging, we're you know what? Let's just do Kraken. We can do it.
I like the adapters for the wiring for the Krakens this year are actually on the motor itself.
I know.
It's very handy because then we're
run it straight to the PDP instead of having multiple connections between each one.
I know, It's so nice.
The problem is sometimes the stubs could take so much wiring. Recently past 3 days, I think, we put a whole bunch of motors on the robot at once. So I spent like 5 hours just cutting and screwing leads for Krakens. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, we prepare. So we're still waiting on some things from SDS to come in to get it all. But we prepare. We like, all right, electrical. You guys have a few days. Get this all prepared. You know.
Yeah, no, it's always like crunch time for electrical, and then programming gets like even less time than that.
Our drivetrain this year is actually really nice. We stubbed out we had a practice robot before the season, so we had a base idea of what the robot would be and where parts would be. So we stubbed out power and can for each of our Kraken swerves, and we were able to put the Krakens on in like 2 hours. It was really awesome.
Yeah, we are in like that similar type of boat and all that. We had. It's kind of funny for us. We're using the same dimension chassis as we did last year, so it worked out with, you know, getting all of our bumpers and then getting all of like our wiring. Like everyone knows okay, this is how we're gonna wire it up.
Yeah.
And all the stuff.
That's handy. Yeah, I know. Like this year, we went for more like square base as compared to the other years, which hopefully that'll help out with programming a bit for pathfinding and whatnot. Also,
yeah.
Have you guys used a new programming like pathfinding tool where you can like pretty much just draw the paths for stuff? I know I've seen a couple of teams doing that, and we just started using that.
Pathfinder?
Yeah.
We used it for our off-season event. It took us a little while to figure out, like, I'm not on the like programming side, but it took us a little while to figure out the odometry. So, but once we figured that out, it was really nice for setting up our autonomous for our off-season event.
Yeah, it's really handy.
Oh yeah, we have, so our programmers who right now are able to set up all the autonomous paths that, you know, like we plan to do. So it's really nice because they can get ahead, and then while we're still working on assembling stuff, you know, they're able to still get progress done.
I guess, okay. What type of like idea did you guys go with for your shooter? Are you doing like the belts or the wheels on the sides or on top, or what do your guys' attack plan for that?
So as of right now, we're going with the dual-sided like this kind of that approach. We noticed with like Cranberry Alarm that RA3D, it worked. It was pretty effective, but we are also discussing like the way that it'll be easier to. So basically, the way our robot is constructed is we have our intake, and then we have an elevator that we use that our shooter's on, and our shooter can rotate. So we're using the elevator to climb and then adjust kind of how we can shoot from different spots. And then the shooter part, though, it's actually very modular. So what we're gonna do is we're planning on testing two different styles of like shooters. So the top down that like almost every team on Open Alliance, like it's like the exact same to the T, you know, it's the exact same shooter like every team using. And versus like the side by side, we're gonna see how consistent like the two rollers are, or two wheels. And if we feel like it's not consistent to what we want, we can definitely switch over and try the other method.
That makes sense. We did a similar thing like with our prototyping phase. We broke up into a bunch of groups, and like any ideas that we could think of for the shooter we approached. There was one that literally used two pegs like sticking up, and the ring would like sit on it, and then it would just spin really hard, and one of the pegs would fall, and it'd cause like a circular spin to shoot off.
Snap the note 4 times.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it worked really well, but it was big and really dangerous. So we didn't go with that one.
Yeah, but for us, part of it was also we have more experience doing like the shooters like this.
Mm-hmm.
So we used this kind of shooter in like 2020 and 2016, 2020, 22. So like we've got a lot of experience with that. We're pretty happy with shooting of it. So
That's good.
That makes sense. Do you personally think that it's worth it to do the turret? Because I know some teams think it is and some teams think it isn't.
well, we don't have a turret on our thing, but I don't think it's worth it because of at least so it depends, right? If you're gonna go to be the best shooting team, I think you should go for a turret because you can kind of just drive your cycles. So if you look at the field, right, you're gonna be mostly getting it from the human player station. Your cycles can kind of almost be like linear, like you just go up and down like that with a turret. But like if you're going for like an amp specific team, you're better. You don't really need one. So
I know we didn't think it had like, we thought it would overcomplicate it too much.
Yeah.
If you need a reliable mechanism that doesn't need that, then it's less likely to break. And if you can really like solidify that, that's what our approach was, at least.
Yeah, but I do think you'll see some teams going with the turret, and at least in earlier regionals, you'll see teams literally just going like up and down with a turret, and just go like, poof. Like I'm expecting like high tide to just like 20 times, like.
Yeah,
like
really quick cycles. Yeah, I agree. Can I ask you a question?
What question?
Anything.
I don't have any questions. Wait, I do have one. What do you guys use connection-wise electrically?
We use like the Wago connectors. What do you guys do?
Anderson connectors.
Mhm. Yeah, so we crimp all of our connectors and stuff.
I think our team was dying with those, I haven't, because we used I think, the Anderson connectors, we switched from them. On our battery we use them, but like we use the Wago connectors, and yeah, they're nice to swap out, but I think if you zip tie all your Anderson connections or just make sure they're good, they will never come out.
Yeah. It takes a lot more work in like the initial part of it, but we've had a lot of success with keeping the wiring. Like we never really have problems with our wiring at competitions. So we think, we've had good luck with it, I guess, and it's worked for us. We found like a system that works. But I know the Wago connectors are good for like quick interchanging of parts and stuff. So there's a like pro side to that as well.
Yeah, so like something that we're going for this season is modularity within our design.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything breaks, we want to have it so literally just plop it back, just plop another one on. Because last year we kind of lucked out because we only broke our intake once. That's the only time it ever broke. Like it completely shattered, but like it broke only once, and that happened at Worlds. That was a nightmare.
Yeah, we actually didn't have any major complications with our intake last year. Our biggest problem was a crack in the Lexan, but it wasn't even that big. It was like an inch crack.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was gonna say we didn't replace it at all during Arkansas. We just left it there.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about that. I mean, if it gets bad, just throw like a gusset on it and it'll be fine.
Right? I know we've had some problems with like, it's always the worst whenever you get to a competition, it's worked fine in person, but then once you go like to a competition, everything just falls apart. I know in 2022, we had an elevator, and at the first regional we go to climb, and it just goes all the way through the bottom of the robot and like destroys the entire belly pan. So luckily last year we didn't have any major complications. Hopefully same goes for this year and we don't have another like robot being torn in half sort of thing.
Yeah, no, we're hoping for the same. It's our first year using like an elevator mechanism. We recently got the Thrifty elevator, so the first season actually using it. So we're hoping for nothing crazy. We only may have it at one stage, so it's just chain driven. So hopefully it means it's gonna work fine.
Yeah. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I don't have any more questions. Do you guys have any more questions that you want to ask? Or
I think I'm out.
do you have any more questions?
I'm okay.
Okay.
So thank you guys so much for coming on, and good luck for your build season.
Thank you. You too.
Good luck to you guys.
Guys, good luck. Hope with 3 a.m. today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Better see you guys at World.
Yeah.